this example, which is very familiar to us, which we have already used during our skin generation, and we are familiar with this model for sure. So let's try to deal with this model now, and we would like to mesh this part and also make sure its quality and everything else. So let's see how we can deal with this model. So first we can check out with the quality, with the quick edit, and check out what we can do and how what is right, what is wrong, and how to deal with that. So this is the example, and a couple of quick observations that I can make for this example is like, we need to have this end nodes here, right? You can see at this end there is no node, which should be there in order to mesh. Otherwise this mesh pattern will be totally different, and it is must to have such end nodes to give the number of nodes along the edges, and then define number of element along the edges and so on. The same way is like along this line we need to have node. There's some such thing are also missing here, and also on this clip. So we need to make there some nodes, and we will find out how can we make these nodes. Other thing, we can have some extra nodes, and that nodes we need to make out and how to create those nodes. And I can also see there are some nodes nearby, so we need to also remove these nodes and try to see how we can improve that, or how to remove these nodes and create some geometry there. Good. Other than that, this model is nicely connected. As you can see, there are easy weld lines, and in this connection is appropriately right, so I don't think there will be any issue here. So it looks, other than that, everything is in control, and we can deal with them. So first, as I have just said and mentioned, like we need to create these nodes here at the end. There are two ways to do that. One is one can access them from quick edit, like trim intersect node to node. That means first node you need to just click on this edge, and the second node you need to click this vertical edge, and intersection of them will be that is the location where it will create the node, and that is where exactly we want. So this is the first node that we have just did right now. The same way I will do for this two, and you can see now we have node at the end. One can also do this from this edge edit, and there you can see there is also one option for this trimming line, and one can also access from there with this not this, but from D feature one can also this trim intersect. So from trim intersect you can first click on this node and click on this line, and for the second node click on that perpendicular line, and this intersection of this horizontal and vertical line, this is the location where we want to have our node. So the same way we will do this for even clip, and for this clip we will do the same. So we have now our nodes at the clip and also at this end. So this was the important one, which I wanted to create node there, and seems to be okay. Now so the second thing which I want to deal with is with this area here, and I can see there are this node which I want to overcome. Now this shape is quite, it's not that good, like it's a little bit of horizontal and then it's coming down like this. But again, that we have created from during our skin part, and that is why it is there from there. But now what I will do is I will do some tricks to overcome this like L shape here. I will just trim from node to node. Just pick the wrong one. I need to pick this node and this node. So you can see I have just trimmed the surfaces here, and the same way is also like in the front side. I will trim from this node to this node, and what I will do is I will remove these surfaces, not element. I will remove these small surfaces, so it won't create it won't any problem for the model or analysis or something like that. Still it will be the same. I will delete this two entity, and now we have that overcome that L-shaped part, which was not that good, and mesh could have been worse in that area. So that thing was also one of the part which I want to overcome. And again, in this part we need to do some tricks for better modeling. For example, I would like to have this line. As you can see, this is one line passing, and is breaking the surface. So I would like to take this edge up to this end. So I will say node with the line. So I will create some more new cuts. This is just to keep the surface better in shape. One can also think of creating cut here as well, so we can follow that, okay, where it is breaking and where some parts are intersecting and so on. But again, this is totally different from one. I mean, somebody don't like to create this cut, and still go ahead with the mesh. So that is totally different from skill and person to person, and nobody can decide this is the only right way or that is the only right way. At the end, we must have a nice mesh, and it should pass the quality criteria. That is what our aim is. Whether you create such cuts or not, that is totally different from person to person opinion. Alright, so this is what so far we have deal with, and now I have decided certain area where I would like to have my mesh, but with map mesh, because I know these are the easy surface. I'm just highlighting couple of surfaces just to show you where I want to have my map mesh, which should be nice and easy, and there won't be an issue for creating a map mesh in those area. So this is what I would like to do, and so these are the area I have just defined, or not defined actually, but just highlighted to show you where I want to have my map mesh. So it's kind of same number of element, and it will flow through a nice flow of the elements throughout. And also one can think of doing the same for all these surfaces here, but one can also eliminate them. It depends. Alright, so I will just go ahead with the mesh because my model is already we have generated the skin. So in this model we don't need to do this skin, and generating the skin is not required because we already did that earlier. So now I will also try and check out if there is unnecessary cut which we can remove or create. So I would like to overcome these two cuts. I will just toggle them, and again I will follow this one to this line and this one to this line. This is just my thought. And again in this area I will also work out a little bit, and I will just remove if required unnecessary kind of cuts which I want to toggle. So I will remove this one, and probably also this one. So this is what I just want to remove. I also want to remove these points, just not required. So now this model looks much better, and the same way I would also like to cut this part and project this node to line. So I will do this from node to line, from this node to this line, and the same way from this node to this line. So this will be kind of projection of these lines. Okay, so I will do this mesh in two parts kind of. First I will mesh the part in the area where I want to have my map mesh, where I want to have map mesh. So I will go to this 2D again, auto mesh, and I will click work with surfaces, because not with element, I don't want to remesh. And then I will pick the surfaces where I want to have my map mesh, so I can focus them, I can really see this part and improve them if required and so on. So I will just work with them first. These are the areas which I have already highlighted, and just try to show you that this is where I want to focus, because these are kind of more or less a easy square plate where we can have a map mesh easily. So that is why I am keen to have a map mesh in this area. And generally in the radius, in most parts, radius are the areas where we can have a high stresses, depends on the part, and kind of loading. But again, in many model you will come across that you require that fine mesh and nice map mesh along the radius. So that's why I'm focusing and showing you various ways to do a nice map mesh in this small radius area, which is critical in many times. So I just work with the check out with the 4 element size. Don't know how big or small that will be. Let's just try first, and it seems to be nice and fine, but it is not highlighting me. Maybe I just need to activate this. So you can see like geometry, visible and invisible. You can visible or hide your mesh as well. So that's why I was not able to see my mesh, but now I am able to see that. And now I will just check out. So you can see it's nice mesh and all quad elements throughout. That is what I want. This is also nice. Again, there are some issue here, as I can see. I will for now just remove that geometry just to observe this part. So this is flowing nicely. The circle is also nice, and then in this area we can work out little bit of, and here it's also need to work out, and the same way is here. So I will take my geometry back, and I will just abort this because I want to have with that interactive method, and I need to check out with that first. So I will remove this because I want to work with my elements instead of surfaces. I have removed the surfaces instead of element, so it's my mistake. I will just import this part again. Which is not, we haven't gone so far, so we can deal with them again. It's a relatively easy issue. Again, just try to do with that trim node, and just place a node at the intersection of the lines where we don't have the nodes right now, and we'll try to put some nodes there. Alright, so I think we have. And one more thing what I did earlier was like creating one more cut and then removing this small portion of the surface. Again, node to node cut, and then remove this small portion of the surface. So this is what it looks like. Again, just node to node. I will just remove this cut because I want to use node to line. and I will create one more cut here. So this is the cut we have all around for these three, and I will also try to think of removing some of the lines here. Okay, there is one more location where I just come to know here there are two nodes, and this doesn't looks that good, so I need to make out and do something there, because if we have so close two nodes, that means it will also have some problem with the small element here. For example, if I will show you, so you can see that because of these two nodes, it will try to mesh those parts, and it will try to keep both of them into the picture. So this is not that good, and what we can do is we can try to think of deleting that one node such that we can have only one line. So let's try to do what we can do there. What I will do is, to overcome this problem, I will cut from node to node, and what I will do is I will cut from here, like quick edit, node to node, not this one, little bit, node to this one, and then I will toggle this line. So by toggling this line, I will just make sure that it will not, we will have just one node. So that was what the intention was, and that will solve the problem in some way. I will also toggle this line here, this line here, again creating node to line. This is kind of some repeating thing I had to do, because I have just removed that surfaces earlier by mistake. Alright, so again, ready for the mesh, we go for auto mesh, and I will pick the surfaces where I want to do my mesh. So I have picked all the surfaces where I want to mesh them, and make sure we have nice mesh pattern there as a nice so to say map mesh in that area. So let's see how we can deal with them. Okay, so this is what it looks like, and I will go with the size and bias method because I want to work with this interactive mode. In QI optimized, you don't have that option. So now I will mesh, so I will get this option, and if required I can modify them. That was the intention. So it is nice flowing pattern. Here it's not that nice, so we'll work out what we can do here. So in this bottom it is also working nicely, right? So here it is some issue. Let's check out what we can do. I need to increase one more 8 here, and then I need to work 8 for 12 and 13. So I just all I'm just trying to do is increase the mesh to make it as it has in the opposite side. So you can see then we have nice flow. So this is what it looks like here. It's good up to here. Then here again I need to check out. Here there are 3. I can think of 2 here, and here I can increase them by 1 more, and I will send mesh. So this is good. Then here I can increase 4. I can reduce this by 4, and then I think it should work, right? Because all you need to do is like opposite edges should have same number of nodes. Like I can see here 4, so I made this 4 and I made this also 4. So this is what you can try to deal with, and take one opposite edges should have same number of nodes. Like for example, here it says 4 4 and the opposite 2. That is nice. I can increase here by one more I can afford. Then rest is nice. Here one triangle, to remove them I can remove this by 1. So now it has gone. Again in this area I can see there are 3 and 2. So 2 are falling from all the sides, so I can afford to reduce this by 2. And here there are 4 4 and on this side is 5, so I will remove this by reduce this by 1. As you know, with right click you can reduce, with left click you can increase. So this is good. And then here again I will deal with these 5. There are 2 I can think of, mesh style, and I will check this for the map, and then it has some problem with the density, so I will increase this density by 2. So now we have a better mesh pattern. And again here like 7 7 and 8, so I will just reduce this by 1 and we can go there. So this one now is much better in map mesh as I was expecting, or as I'm interested in. And the same way now let's check out what we can do here. So you can see straight away like 17 and 20. So we can make like compromising with here 18 and increase this by 118. So it's just so nice pattern now. Again 8 and 5, so it's just reduce this to 6 and increase this by 1, so we can also have 9. So there is no rule, you have to make sure that element should look nice and not very fine or very coarse, and accordingly you have to decide where you want to go, like increase or how much increase or decrease, and make sure your element size is also more or less remains the same. So that is where you have to decide what you need to do or how you need to have your element. So I think this is nice mesh pattern as I was expecting in the areas, and I can accept them, so I will say return. Just removing this geometry to observe, you see how good this quad is. So in the areas where it is possible to have such a nice mesh element, you have to try this. Again this will depend on how big model, how much number of element you can afford and things like that. But just as of now, for a practice, you should do this more often, that in the areas try to keep nice map mesh where it is possible and try to practice them. So okay, this looks nice and much better as far as this side is concerned, and let's try to save this part, and I will say okay, solution kind of thing. Okay, and then I will now think of meshing some other portion which is relatively easy. So again going back to 2D auto mesh, and I will try to again mesh this all portion. So there is nothing wrong, if you even mesh your whole part into 2-3 segments, like you can focus, make sure it is working, then go to the next part. There is nothing wrong in that. It may take some more time for sure, but if you can afford them, there is nothing wrong in that. You can go one by one and try them. So you can see this is a good mesh pattern again, and you can see why I just created that cut line here. Because of that cut line, now you have such a nice mesh pattern. So but without that, one can also mesh, maybe you can get some little bit of free area like in this side, but again there is no such rule that one has to do that. There is no thing like that, one can afford to even have something like this. So that is what I said, that this is more or less depend on the kind of one's wish and experience and like that. So I will accept this. This is more or less a good mesh in my opinion from all the sides, and I can just, instead of tree, I will change it to free. So you can just observe them and then you can say okay, return. This is not a bad mesh in my opinion. We will work for the quality later on, and then I will work on this side. I will also go back to geometry, quick edit, and just remove this line which I don't want here. This one I can also remove, and then from mesh again I can think of removing this mesh. This is more or less okay. This tria in the front is not good, but yeah, in certain areas it would be difficult to remove such a tria element, specifically like such areas. But we can also think of see that the quality actually matches. Good. And then coming back to this side, we'll mesh first this. So it's more or less with very little we can do there, and we'll accept them. And then again coming back to this side, we can mesh this portion, which also looks nice. Certain surface which is meshing. So again, the use of creating this cut is, you can see that we have a nice mesh pattern here as well. I could have think of removing this tria, with the element increasing or decreasing. That could have also worked out. That's not an issue. So in this way one can think of dealing with such problem. And again on this side I need to mesh all these surfaces. And I make sure that we have some same number of nodes for better element quality. So it is more or less 9. Here 4, I will make it to 5. And then so here it seems some problem because this line is not required, and the problem is there are 2 nodes, you can see. So I will abort this and I will work with my geometry. You can see this is not good even from my side, that I have missed this red line. It should not be there, and this should be toggled. So this kind of small thing that one can make come beyond your visualization. So that's why always a good practice to hide that shade edges and make sure your model and everything is good. Otherwise you can also lead to such kind of mistake. So that's why it's not a good practice. I will, for safety, just remove these faces element, and I can think of remeshing them again to make sure that node, and we don't have any problem with that. So again just working on that remaining surfaces. So such kind of observation should come, that why there is one line, that you can make out there is something wrong with that or what. Again I cannot feel there is something wrong here because this line in this shape is not required. But this could be a problem because I can overcome this problem by increasing this node, let's say 2, and then this line should go. So I can increase one more node on this side, and you can think of improvising them in this manner. So this is more or less like how to improve your mesh and make sure everything works well, and it's going nicely and flow and all. So this is again practice. Nobody can understand and do this in one click or first time. It's the more you practice, more you will understand all these things. So there is no such law or one thing that I can tell, or some mantras like and you will be able to understand. There is nothing like that. So this is now more or less the final model, completely mesh as I would have expected. But let's check out with the quality, because I do expect there will be some high quality index and we need to work a lot. So let's check out. So again going back to quality index, and yeah, it's 224. yeah, so it's quite high, mainly in this area like such cylinders, and yeah, this is what I'm not expecting such problems. It should be there, and it is there. Okay, so let's try to do and improvise as good as we can. We try first with some node optimization and try to see how much we can go. We start with the easier, or where we know that should overcome the problem. So we'll start with that, and if not, we can use some element optimization and try to optimize them. So again, one can also directly go to the quality index method and pick this element and improvise them. That could be possible. I mean, this is another way. But again, there is no such laws that one has to do this or that. Again, this is totally different from user to user, experience to one's experience, and depends on so many things. So one cannot say that okay, this is the only right way and to do, and this is not the right way or wrong. Everybody has their own experience, and that makes them comfortable or decide that what should I go for. So this is totally different, and this is way how it works. This is quite big element. This is very big element here. So it has come down to 160 from somewhere to 14 or 15 when we have started. And again, such triangular shapes will also always have some issue for sure. Okay, 95. This is quite tricky. This one here will be difficult to manage because it's such a complex shape. You can see there are two surfaces which are meeting up, and the edges is just passing through them. So this is very difficult, but let's try to do a couple of things with the quality index, and try to improvise the mesh quality through that remeshing option. I will go to this quality index option, element, and then I will pick my elements which I want to improve. You have to pick some more element, so the thing is that it will help the software to remesh that part. If you just give them 2-3 elements, then it will be limited space for them. If you give some more choice and area, it can work better. So I hope this may have improved, but which is not that sure, because I think still we will get some red there, because this is a complex part. We can try to think of node optimization and try to move this node, if we little bit, if it helps, but which is also not that easy to do that, because this location is such critical there. So then also try to do a couple of things for these reds here, and we'll try to do something for that with again with remeshing like quality index. Let's see how good it